All right, folks, it is Tuesday at 7, and we're live here down at the Waterloo 7 gallery with Jerry Schmidt. So as folks are kind of joining in, I'm just kind of walking. This is the sidewalk view. Again, this is down here at the Waterloo Gallery. We're gonna go in. We're gonna have an opportunity to talk to Jerry and see what he's doing. I see that there's a whole lot of folks joining in here. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, Tuesday at 7. We're gonna do the creative interviews, but today I'm just gonna kind of peruse here through the outside of this Waterloo 7 studio. Then we're gonna go inside and we're gonna talk to Jerry Schmidt and hear his conversation. For those of you who have been watching for the past couple of weeks, you're going to see that at least the last few we've been doing interviews with creative people. We realize that there's a lot of commonalities between us, and we wanted to talk through those stories. Glad to see that there's a lot of friends and family. Barb, my cousin, friends Maureen. I see Linda Biggs there, Tom Dewhurst. But we're just kind of going to step in here, and we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Jerry. As you'll see, this is a working studio. Hey, Jerry.
Yeah.
Is this a studio dog?
Yeah, this is a studio, Roxy, studio dog Roxy. She's 11 years old, and she's been in this studio since she's a puppy. Knows no other way.
How long have you been here at this location?
This location, I've been here about 8 years, and then I moved back into Collinwood in 2002. My kids were all born out here in Collinwood, grew up on Corsica, and now I have my grandson here that grew up out here too, Nate.
How you doing, Nate? Good, and you'll see in the back, there's my wife, Beth. I'm going to be handing her the cameras. We're kind of going to talk around. Looks like Kelly and Grammy signed on here, so they're watching. And a lot of folks are joining as well. Hey, Paul, I see you are out there. Are you working tonight? Or taking the night off there? Paul Tylicki, working on his yard. Anyways, so I'm going to hand the phone off to Beth, and she can kind of just do a kind of a talk through. But you want to sit down and talk? We're going to sit down, then we get back on our feet and kind of talk through some of these pieces here. I was down here last, I think, a year-ish ago. I came down with a friend. We had a pizza down here.
Yeah, and you purchased a piece.
I purchased a piece as well. There's a piece for the office, and I'll have to share some photos with that. But there's a whole lot of new stuff here since I've been here last. So you are in producing.
I'm on a mission. I'm finding I've really found myself when I got to receive the big commission at the Hilton. That really kind of opened up a whole new venue of my life. And I think at that point, I truly believe now today I'm an artist. And it's taken me, I'm going to be 61 years old. And I just never had that. I just never had that confidence in me. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to really, and a lot of confidence to truly say that you are an artist. And it takes a lot of kickdowns too. A lot of proposals that you write up, and it seems like you're pretty well up to maybe get this one, and then you just get your feet kicked out. And I grew up with this, Roger. My father, I came out of my mother's belly in an abstract world, and I watched my father struggle. But what art did to my father was it made him happy. And my father was not a happy person outside of the art world. He had to bring up 3 kids, and he had a wife, and he wanted to be free. But when he would come home from work and he was in this really ranky mood, and then he would go to his studio, but then when he'd come back in, he was a complete changed man, and I always wondered what that was all about. And so at this age and even younger, I had gone out and just watched and listened to his words, listened to his poetry, and would just ramble on, or a title that he would title a piece, and then there's an explanation behind that piece. And every piece in here has a reason. Every reason. See, if it's an ugly reason, if it's you know, if it's a mad, if I'm glad or whatever, you know, I just have to build it. It's the expression of myself.
So you're a second generation sculptor, metal sculptor,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Why metal?
Well, I mean, when I was young, I liked to draw. I liked to draw cartoon characters. I was pretty good at it. You know, you had that magazine, you open it up, and if you could draw, you blink it, and you send it in, and they make it, you know, an artist and stuff. And I did that a few times, but I just, I did a lot of cartoon characters, and I don't know. I think the steel is just the roughness, you know, the smell of it, the grinding, the welding, the banging, the noise just kind of makes my head right. And I just couldn't see myself settle down in front of a paintbrush. Where today, I would like to learn how to paint. I really want to learn how to paint and see what it's like to just sit but I've been around and I've seen so much art. It's like I don't want to copy somebody else's work.
Yeah.
But I think that's something my next adventure is to. But if I paint, I'll probably paint on steel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's a great thing. And in terms of from my family, so my dad quit school in the 10th grade, and he lived back in the Pennsylvania area outside of Pittsburgh. And back then, he and his brothers, so the generation above of Miller boys, they all quit school to work in the steel mills. And so they quit. They worked hard. They were working young men. They all went off to the military. They came back and they spent 35, 40 years working in steel. And so this has kind of a, I don't know, because I didn't work in the steel mill.
Right.
My dad didn't bring the stuff home, but it has a comfort.
Yeah,
And maybe
good.
that's a subconscious draw of mine coming from a family of steelworkers. And then my grandfather was a steel worker as well.
Wow.
And so I get that. But so your father, now was he a
Iron worker.
worker?
No, he worked at Smith and Obey. He worked at the railroads back in the 50s over across here in Collinwood Yards, and then he went to a place Smith and Obey, which was with their heating and air conditioning, and that was it. But this was his main thing, was the art. And unfortunately, he died before he could do it full time. He never. I believe that people have two colored bloods. There's a green blood the green blood is the blood that people want everything. They want to go to Europe. They want to travel all around. And then there's the humble red that people just want to get by with what they have. And my father had more green blood in him. He wanted to go to Europe. He wanted to travel all over the world and have a nice house. And that's what it was. So he never stopped working. And when he died at 65 from asbestosis, and I said, man, I'm not going to do it. And I was ironworking at the time, and I just said, I'm done. I said, I'm done, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I think I made the right move. I know I made the right move.
Yeah.
It's struggle. It's a very struggling time, you know, and in the world right now of art, there's so much of it out here in Cleveland. You know, we have that issue 8 that 1.5% of the cigarette alcohol tax goes to.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of young entrepreneurs that come into Cleveland.
Yeah.
A lot of young kids are coming into CIA and going to school and coming out and thinking that they're going to make it in the art world. It's the easier, softer way.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask some of you real quick. Are you guys able to hear? If you can hear all right, or if you're hearing some
Just say yay.
Road noise, yeah, just respond, say, yeah, we can hear fine, or type in a message, say, a little noisy. We can always close that back door. We're assuming you guys can hear us, but we want to make sure that that's the case. You're getting some yeses, they can hear fine?
Not yet, but I'm sure I will.
Okay. So your father worked hard, died earlier than a man should, but now was he a metal artist as well? Is that
he was
where?
a sculptor, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, world renowned. He's very he's in the museums, and his name is out there. And
What's your father's name?
Fred.
Fred
Schmidt. Yeah.
Fred Schmidt.
Yeah, and then there's myself, and then there's my son Tyler, who couldn't make it tonight, and then this is the fourth generation, Nathan.
Yay.
He's right up there with me.
4 generations of metal stuff.
Yeah, he's right up there. He works right with us, and I love it.
Yeah. So your father was working in the studio. Did he have his own studio?
We had his first studio when my parents divorced, whatever. Dad went and got a studio out in Little Italy, Murray Hill.
Mm-hmm.
It was it.
That's a good place to be.
It was right behind the Little Tom's building, where now it's Michelangelo's.
Yeah.
So we would, every weekend I was at the studio with my father, because I had to have what that man had. Regardless of how he was when he lived with us, regardless, I had to have what he had. And that was, I saw what this did to him. And I knew, I keep going back to that, but I so remember so many nights that he would come home and then he'd come back in and we'd have this new piece, and then he met after my mom, he met a woman, Jane Globinger, who was the curator to the Cleveland Art Museum. Mm-hmm. So that really set the stage of what was going on in his life, where he was so radical in his art, and then at that time, what it was LSD, Chianti wine, and marijuana. That's what it was in the 60s. And we grew up with that. That was it. And then going over to Little Italy, there was just so much that happened there. And this little tiny, just probably the size of the door to the door, the outside door, and it just went so far back and so like a dungeon. It was like a dungeon, and it had this propane heater that when we'd freeze in the wintertime, but there's a sound and a smoke and everything that happened there was so much. And then we went from there over to 51st and Superior, where it was like heaven. It was a Taj Mahal. And it had a huge balcony, and he just went nuts there. That's where the big things happened.
And when did you, maybe at what age, or did you first pick up a blowtorch and a grinder and tools and first got maybe the bite of metal sculpting?
I was all of this age right here. I was all. Dad didn't let me do much beyond that, like I do with this guy, and like I did with my son, like I did with Nate. I'm having him. He was plasma cutting. He's going to be 11, and he was doing it probably 2-3 years ago, playing around with torches and grinders, and I would keep my hands over him and just kind of keep him protected. But no fear, and that's what was really important is letting him see this and see that he doesn't have any. I like the piece he just did the other night. He came home from school and he was I could see it in his head. And he was here at the studio and he pulled out this piece of paper and he said he had drawn this in school, and he says, I want to do it. And I said, go home and get your clothes, go change, and let's do it. And that's what he did. And we videotaped him, and it's an expression, and that's what art is all about. And kids seem to they seem to have lost that. The curriculum, especially in Cleveland, they've removed that. And if you came here, you would see 30 tons of sculpture, steel outside, but none of these pieces have ever been pushed over, graffitied, or stolen. Yeah. And it's what I do with the youth, and I get these grants, and I bring these young kids into from the neighborhood, and I teach them to weld, and I have a lot of protection around this neighborhood. You know, they respect me.
Respect what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
What motivates you as a sculptor? What motivates you? Is it and with that, what motivates you? So motivating might be, you know, what provides the energy. So if you look around, I mean, there's a lot of creative people. We even talked about this last week when we were interviewing with Neil Zaza, and there's a lot of creative people, and sometimes creative people don't create. They kind of set to the side, or they only create at certain times. But if you were to look around, as Beth is just kind of showing around, you're actively creating. So you're creative and creating. So what motivates you or inspires you? Talk a little bit about the process. Do you find the metal? Do you come with the idea? How does that?
My hands work before my mind thinks. My hands work that literally. I really don't have control on what I'm doing. I just pick up. I just start picking up steel and I start tacking it together, and it's almost like a solar blackout. I am as much shocked as the viewer is when they wow. I mean, after I'm done with it. And my mind is going so rapidly that when I go to bed at night, I'm still thinking of what I just did. If that makes sense.
I absolutely.
And I think as I say that my art is my melatonin, and I go to bed at night, and I teach this little guy this too. When he gets up and he says, "Pop, I can't sleep," I said, "Think about the piece you just built. Just eliminate everything out of your mind. Let that be your sleeping pill." And he's learning this, and this is what I do, and that's because my hands have worked so quickly, but my mind is set back, and then it just it just sets me right down.
Walk us around here. We're going to continue to talk. But walk us around, and you lead us through your studio and say, this is a work that you did recently, this is one that was commissioned, or this is how this process, and talk through the motivations. And again, you point out those ones that have good stories.
Well, I mean, I think if I have my favorites, I think it's probably her. This is Faith, you know, and you can see it really gives a lot of perspective on what, you know, the painter paints with the paintbrush, and I paint with my sander, and that's with these beautiful marks, and you can pull a heart in here, and when you move, it becomes like a three-dimensional,
like a hologram. Yeah.
And then if you look in her face, you see the breast cancer sign. And this is and what she's done is she survived this 4-stage, and now she's just reaching out for her own self, you know, just loving life at its fullest. You know, and that's she took some time. She probably wanted to, you know, she took a lot of time, and I get a lot of good, nice, you know, great pieces, but she'll find a home.
And this is one of your your heart pieces, right?
Yeah. She was a lot of fun. She took a lot out of me, you know. And I only have so many certain tools to work with, and if I can't make it with it, then I won't do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. And you know, you can be so politically incorrect on these too, like this one here. Mm-hmm. You know, this is, of course, watch yourself, buddy. You know, you have your menorah, and you have your, what some may call a crown of thorn, but does it represent the Holocaust? Yeah. You know, and then here's Jesus and sitting in his throne. But you can just have so many fun things with it. I have another piece over there that's that's really intense. And I work with a lot of youth. And I work with the PEP program, Positive Education. I work with the Euclid Adult Activity Center. And I bring them in here, and I you know, Thursday and Fridays, and this is what we do on the weekends or on the weekdays. And these painted pieces that you see here.
Walk us around. These pieces.
Yeah, this is a Jenna Fournier. What it was is I built the piece, and it had been sitting here for some time, and I got a hold of about 20 local artists, and this is Jennifer Fournier. She painted the piece. Steve Simmons did this wonderful fiberglass on this piece here, which we did 3 of these for the Ingenuity, and they did a thing. It was on Metamorphosis. So we did 3 different butterflies. This is Lauren Vorse. This piece here is called Parallax.
It's
Very
gorgeous.
beautiful piece, Lauren Vorse. Matt Merchant did this piece here. So we have, I mean, I could go on. Patty McPhillips. And Roger, this here is something that you could really relate to, because this is slag from out of the steel mills.
I have a piece of your
Yeah.
slag
Right, so
sculpture.
so we have, this, and here's a couple more of these. I love it. I mean, I love the slag work. It really enhances the piece, where some may think negative, but this piece here is redemption.
That's gorgeous.
Michelle Biondo did the beautiful glass work in this. So, I mean, this was another part of a stepping stone for me, because, here I have a huge part of me that I'm giving to somebody to deface or do what they want with it, and that was the whole thing. Do what you want, and there's no complaints.
Yeah.
I can't say I don't like it and I'm going to go get it sandblasted. This is it, and what we do is we do a half and half. If it sells, they get half, I get the other half.
Yeah. Tell us about slag. So I know what slag is. So to tell us how you rescue that metal and maybe the process and.
Well, I was, as an iron worker, I was working in the mills, and I was replacing the whole top of this building where they ran this 149-ton crane full of molten steel. And it would go down, and then it would pour into the back of these trains, and then when it would pick up, the slag would just go plop. And I made friends with Ben and Jerry, the foremans were there, and I said, hey, look, guys, can I get some of the slag? And they said, yeah, take it. And I would just throw it in the back of my van and bring it on back here, and and this is what
just
happens.
discarded metal, right?
Yeah.
And
but they would use it for landfill, because see, it's slag. All of the oxygen is sucked out of it, and it doesn't rust.
yeah.
So it breaks up, and it would just go into landfill, and that. So, I mean, I would bring it back, and this is the fun that I get with it. It's just a matter of heating it and twisting it, and just really bringing it back to life.
So back here, I see a bunch of metal
Yeah.
that looks like you've grabbed along the way that might be repurposed into art. Is that how that works?
Oh yeah, these will all be, things like this here, this baby here, back here, this whole headboard right here, this one right here, will probably be a bike rack, more than likely. I love doing the bike racks, and I mean, these here, I got these from the Cleveland Clinic. They're aluminum, and one day I'm going to put blocks, glass blocks in there, and light it up from underneath of it, and have a flat table. Or I might even put the two exactly together and fill them in and make something solid. It's just what that momentary do it. You have to do it now. And that's what I do. It's, just skylines of Cleveland to just everything. Old sewing machines, Swinger sewing machines, and it's what people discard is my rush.
Yeah. And yeah, you said your hands work before your brain does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I can't. My mind doesn't have much to say of what I create. It's just all of it's working, and then just picking something up and putting in place, and then stop. I have to stop, walk away, and I let my mind catch up to where I'm at. Then it starts up again.
Is the pounding and the metal and that heartbeat of the art? Is that part of your process?
So your cousin Barbara says she remembers she used to watch the trains dump molten slag south of Pittsburgh as a kid,
Yeah.
and it was just absolutely amazing to watch that dump down like
poured
that.
out, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what
Absolutely.
that's what would happen exactly. Well,
Yep.
she grew up with this.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
My cousin, my family still, many of them still are in the Pittsburgh area,
Yep.
and so we have a piece of your slag work because it spoke to us
Yep.
while we were here that one day. Again, I come from steel
loved it.
worker.
Yeah.
That's my heritage, and so to see it had this feel, and I was like that, and it's weird because the piece almost chose us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we were looking, it was just like, our attention went to it and we're like, that's it. And,
You
and
knew
it was,
exactly.
and it was, people don't understand, I think, until you have that
Yep.
feel.
And if
that
anybody is
belonged to
driving
us.
by our house and are fascinated by our mailbox holder, that was another repurposing. Is we commissioned Jerry to make our because we got tired of the snowplows knocking over our mailbox, so he built us a gorgeous mailbox holder out of a streetlight from here in the it was in the Collinwood area,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So.
That's what they took off the streets.
Yep.
The lights.
So
yeah.
next time you drive by our house, admire the sculpture / mailbox.
We also
stand.
have an aluminum piece that's out, and when the wind blows, it kind of chimes. Do you remember that piece?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Hey, come walk us over here a little more. Show us a couple more pieces, Jerry, and then I want to go back and talk a little bit about your tools.
Well, these are these are my most recent pieces. These were guards from off of a machine, and you know I just got them in. They were sitting in my van for like 6 months, and I cleaned out my van and threw them back there. And I'm looking at them and like, oh boy, I see what this baby's going to be. And I mean, seriously, these are like it. You know, they are. Call them what you want.
Yeah.
My buddy Bob brought me these wonderful straps in, and they're just there's so much. And I'm in this. I got into this seat thing. I got into this chair seat type.
Well,
thing.
yeah, you got chairs here and a couch over there.
Yeah, this was something I have. It's literally covers up with the section, and it looks like it's just a
Look at
glass. Yeah, it really is. It's almost when you sit in it. It almost. I want you to almost feel like you're on a roller coaster
Ah,
Yeah.
because of the track and in the chain.
Yeah.
You know, and you can almost feel the.
yep.
You know.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's
I had
comfortable.
they did the seat cover on it, and then this one here, this is another one I did, and we'll have Nate Armato. Come on in here, buddy, and have a seat here. This is almost like it's like sitting in your metamorphosis. It's almost being in a metamorphosis.
Oh, you've got light in
there too.
Yeah. So you have it. It's just and it really is. It's comfortable, but at night, this place is like a fairy tale with all these lights going off, and you know this piece here.
That's gorgeous.
My father did this piece here in 1971. He did this for the Cleveland Free Clinic when they first opened on Euclid Avenue, and they renovated it in 1986. And this couple had purchased it, and it sat outside since '86. I got it back about a year and a half ago, and it was all rusted. And I went and had it sandblasted, and I pretty well brought it back to what it was originally. And this coating that you see on here, this color, is something my father had come up with back in the '60s. And what it is this boiled linseed oil. And you grind the metal down raw. You paint a light coat of boiled linseed oil, and you take your oxyacetylene torches and you burn the oil into the steel. And it leaves this beautiful, here's a real good view of what it does. So it has this beautiful, gorgeous brown. The hotter you get, the darker it gets, which this here was done with a 2-inch propane torch. And I put more heat on it, and and it's very, very hard because if you put too much heat on a certain area, it oxidizes and then it sucks the oxygen right out of it and it turns blue. So it ruins the piece. And so, these were all just knockouts that if you know about welding, weld would just bzzz and just do a long weld. Every single one of these were tacks, tack, tack, tack. I mean, there's not 1/2 inch weld on this whole thing, as if you can look at it.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this kind of work is the blind can enjoy it. You could just literally feel and touch it. And I encourage people to touch this, and just feel, get a really nice feel of what's happened to it. It's this was a fun piece. I got into these knockouts, as you notice. And I go into a phase, and when I do one, I have to do 2, possibly 3. And then I just step away from that and then just go away and start something else.
I have not heard you yet, and it may just be that it's an observation, or I haven't heard you refer to these pieces of artwork by a name.
Yeah.
Do you name your work?
I do, but it's more personal.
Okay.
I find that the person that's looking at it is what the viewers is always right. In abstract, I'm never wrong. I can't be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the viewer sees is what makes it important. And I mean, and that's what's so important with abstract art. That's when a group of kids may come in and I ask them, do you like art? Do you do art? Yeah. What do you do? Are you a perfectionist? Well, yeah. I say no. Your tree is your tree. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it's perfect to you.
Yeah.
The viewer is only just someone that's going to say, the manipulating the mind and saying, well, that's a tree. Is it? Yeah. Wow, it is.
Yeah.
That's how. I mean, I can. Some people say it's not the right word, but I like it. To manipulate a mind to see what somebody can't. What do you see? I see a fish, but it's not. It's this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all comes about. And that's what I'm so lucky to be raised in an abstract world.
Mm-hmm.
There's no color. There's no sex. There's no religion in this
world. Yeah, good point. Walk us back just to your what do you call that? Your workstation. Kind of point out a few things.
This is kind of what I'm doing now too. My nephew brought me all these beautiful stones from the lake.
Is that from the lake, from Lake Erie?
I have 4 55-gallon drums and 3 garbage cans full of these beautiful bricks that this guy gathered up for 16 years.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do
is
I'm going to let you guys have a few of these. So like Neil did with his with the
CDs.
Yeah,
if you share it,
then you'll be able to go to them and say this is something, and I'll sign them. And
perfect.
All right.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we'll keep that tradition going.
Yeah. So tell us, Nate, what do you got there?
A torch, which is you use it to heat up stuff, and if something is like rusted out and you can't take it out, it's like you have to warm it up and just bang on it. And voila.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So what is this?
This is like our generator. Yeah.
MIG.
Oh yeah, that's the MIG welder.
Yeah, this is our MIG welder here. This is what we weld with, is the MIG. And there's all different types. There's a MIG stick, gas, aluminum, and it all runs on wire. It's a much cleaner. It's really clean. Where your stick welder, you'd have a lot of smoke, a lot of slag, and everything, and this is much less maintenance. And I can pretty well weld anything with it, with stainless, aluminum, and whatever I have to. It gets me through.
Yeah. And is that your main tools?
The MIG, the torches, the plasma cutter. I have the grinder. Yeah, I have a plasma cutter, and the plasma cutter is a jewel. A plasma cutter, you have your torches, which only cuts steel. Your plasma cutter cuts everything, all non-ferrous metals, aluminum, copper, brass, anything. It's really nice. So that's what cuts out all of these, what you see on the walls right here. And your piece, Nate, where's your piece at?
And this is the ground, which is, if you wanted to do anything and you didn't have this on, you wouldn't be able to do it.
You have to ground your
Yeah,
tool,
you have to,
right?
like,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it has to grab on.
Yeah. And then this is Nate's piece, just most recent piece right here.
Oh yeah, making a skull, huh?
It's called Daredevil, and I came down when I was at school. I drew a paper, and I was like, should I like throw it away, or should I like make a piece out of it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Can we see the back?
Yeah, let's see the back of that.
So you cut it out with the plasma cutter, all the shapes here,
Yeah.
and then you welded everything together. Is that correct? Okay.
Good work.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
And this is, and I drew this from my dream,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought it here, and I came here, and I gave my papa the worksheet that I drew this on,
Mm-hmm.
and gave it, and told him,
Oh, that's
If I
just
could-
like your stencil, right?
yeah, this is
There you
it.
go.
And I cut it out,
Mm-hmm.
and I traced it on a piece of metal, and just the lines, every line that I traced, I plasma cut it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Nate has his, Nate won a National Arts Program, and he won a scholarship to the Fluid Art Museum on one of his pieces at a show that he was in. You know, this little guy, he knows exactly how important the art is to him.
Yeah. So tell us as we kind of wind down. Tell us some of those things that you've passed it. Your father passed it on to you. You passed it to your son, on to your grandson. There are some things that that you teach in that process about the creative, about the process, about finding ways of expressing yourself through metal and through the arts. What are some of those things that you might suggest out to like a newcomer?
You know, just do it. Just do it. I mean, it's a tough world. The art is a tough world. There's a lot of, again, I've been in it my whole life, and I watched my father, the politics, the bulliness, and you have to accept the word no. You have to respect rejection, because rejection only makes you stronger. It makes you think more outside the box. And honestly, to become an artist, you have to be an artist. You have to feel it. You have to feel it. You could say I'm an artist, but deep down inside, when you go to sleep at night, you doubt yourself. And until you can go to sleep at night and you can really say what I've succeeded at being what I want to be. And that is, I am today, I am an artist. I just cannot express how it's tough. And if you don't have any other kind of income coming in and you rely on this, I always said that the day that I have to do this to make a living is the day that I need to walk away from it. But you know what? I have to do it to make a living, and I'm not walking away from it.
Yeah.
I can't. Because I know how valuable this is to my head. And again, and I speak with my hands, and that's where I really truly believe that my hands go before my mind thinks. And to honestly say that when I'm done with something and I look back at it and do I have my favorites? Everything is my favorite. There are no personal favorites. You know, everything is each time I do something, I always, I say, wow. You know, this was a very important piece right here. This is something that was done. I'm trying to get this in here real quick, but this piece here was a. This is a.
Can you turn off the lights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all barn nails. These were all handmade barn nails, and this is a pure metamorphosis right here. One more, bud. See what happens up here, and now it becomes a kaleidoscope. So it's so overwhelming. What's happened is, you know, these metamorphoses, butterflies that are just rising up, you know, and I mean, this whole place now has become such a. I just come here at night and I sit.
Yeah.
I sit and I think and I ponder a lot, you know, and then I know I can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I get up in the morning, I take him to school, and I come to the studio. There may be days I just might sit here, but then all of a sudden something just, I look at something and I say, oh, it's got to go.
Yeah.
It's got to come to life. And then that's where that's where this comes about. And that's where these pieces that just, you know, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some things that money can't buy, right? And the creative process and the reward of bringing something out of nothing, I think works for me. So tell me your address here. I mean, I know where we're at, but it's a Waterloo 7 Gallery.
Yeah. It's 15315 Waterloo Road. It's in Collinwood, Cleveland, 44110. And if you want to call or something, my number is 239-293-9548.
And your website?
SchmidtSculpture.com. SCHMIDT Sculpture. SCULPTUR.
And your pieces are all over. I mean, you've got pieces that people can buy here. You've got pieces at Cleveland Hopkins Airport.
Those aren't there. I got it. I have them in the Hilton. I have them in the Cleveland Clinic, UH. A lot of private collectors own my work, and
This private collector.
private
collectors own your work. I think we got
3,
5 pieces.
5, oh my God.
The Lincoln Electric, is
Lincoln
that?
Electric,
you
yeah,
did that one, right?
there's work. I have work
Yeah.
there, and you know, it's not the, you know, and I have my, like you know, I have people that really love my work and they keep coming back. And I have one client, they own 17 of my pieces.
Nice.
They just keep coming back, and I'm like, oh, here's Tony, and he'll do it again, you know, like they need it.
Yeah, we walk in here and from my vantage point, at least my experiences, I walk in here and I pass through like 3 or 4 times, both outside and inside, and I just keep looking at the piece that's calling my name. It just kind of whispers, and I keep getting drawn to it, and that's what I picked up the last several times that we've been here.
It does too, Roger. It does, and a lot of people that I ask them, you know, come back, you know, come back tomorrow, and you'll see something new, and you'll say, you know, Jerry, oh, you've been working hard, but it was just behind a corner. Yeah. It was behind another piece, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
And the harder you do, the harder things, and you push yourself. And the harder things you do and you get them right, it's called growth mindset.
Yeah.
And the harder
you push,
yeah, and you complete the things, you just did a hard thing that you couldn't do, and
you grow.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Jerry, you have left a great heritage. You've left a lot of great work.
Yeah.
Your grandson is great. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, sure doesn't.
Yeah.
So Nate, we are proud of you, buddy. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Roger.
Jerry, appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much, Roger.
Folks, if you would share, again, we're gonna, for those folks that share in a week and a half or so, we're gonna pick online and we're gonna send a couple of those pieces out to you as well. So if you share, then just just write down or put a comment, just go shared. So we'll grab those and send you some of Jerry's work.
Yeah, I have some really cool things here. We'll sign and
Send off.
send off.
Yep.
All right, folks, appreciate it. We will get in contact. Keep an eye out. We're going to announce, we already have folks set up for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it's pretty exciting. We're going to go all over the place. So last week was Neil Zaza, world-renowned guitarist. This week, metal sculpting, big, crazy stuff. Next week we'll announce. In the weekend, we'll be picking those Neil Zaza CDs, those signed CDs. We'll be picking out some of Jerry's work as well and sending them off in the next week or so.
And some cards.
Yeah, some cards too.
Yep.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a nice day.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.